So the last of our physiological factors affecting performance topics, topic 4, looking at fatigue, recovery and physical performance. So the key ideas we're looking at here is the understanding of key theories of fatigue and how they impact on performance, understanding of recovery strategies, and understanding of the methods used to delay fatigue. So we can see here that confirming questions are: what is fatigue and how does it affect performance? So fatigue is defined as a reversible condition brought on by the decrease in maximal power output or speed capacity during exercise or work. So we know it, outlined here, usually around that raised lactate levels. Alright, so you can also look at decreased blood glucose levels and those body temperature, the increased dehydration factors. So those are the ones we generally associate fatigue with. Lots of the theories that can cause it. The brain is one of the key factors as seen in the diagram. So once we exercise or these fatigue specific changes in our body functions, our brain monitor these and we regulate our work capacity according to how our brain receives the ideas that our lactate levels increase, body temperature. So it's more of a survival factor rather than anything. If we've got such a huge build-up in lactate levels in our body, our brain regulates our work, slows the intensity, so then we can start to recover. Especially with dehydration, increased body temperature, gets to the point where our brain will then reduce our work or tell us we have to stop. So when an athlete begins an event, they know how hard they must work during the event to avoid fatigue. So subconsciously we know, according to these factors, if we work too hard early, we got fatigued. This is called anticipatory regulation. So working at a level of effort, avoiding early fatigue. We often might feel that at the start of our event, particularly when we're getting into the oxygen deficit stage, that we're working really, really hard, we feel really fatigued, we reduce the intensity, and then we can work back up from there, and our brain monitors that. So recovery strategies are used to restore physical and mental functions after exercise. So when we're looking at what is recovery, what are the different methods and how do they work? So the recovery benefits include maintaining the intensity needed in further training and optimal performance. So making sure we recover from one session to the next to continue to increase our performance. Performing at the highest level when we're in competition. The above will allow us to overcome fatigue, and will help the athlete avoid the risks of overtraining. So obviously we would love to be able to train every day at a high intensity, but we become fatigued, so we need to have rest breaks to then further that optimum level of training to correlate with optimal performance. Active recovery. So we know when we're looking at our interplay of energy systems, we have this period called active recovery. So active recovery is utilised within our work output. So it depends on the level of exercise or work done and the intensity of our exercise. So being active helps the body recover from maximal efforts, like slow jogs, walks or cycling. 30 to 50% of maximum oxygen uptake is the best intensity to do this. And what this does is it allows oxygen to continue to flow through the body, and with oxygen it helps those recovery processes be more efficient. Being active to help the body recover from submaximal efforts to steady state exercise, and intensity of effort, usually this is set at 65 to 75% of maximal heart rate. Passive recovery. So these are best methods because they don't raise the body's metabolism, continued need for energy, which can slow the recovery process. These are methods or techniques used in this way, both during and after training competition. So passive recovery is really good for that long-term recovery. But in terms of active recovery, if we need to then reproduce an effort, active recovery is going to make it a lot more efficient. Passive recovery will allow for that full recovery. So looking at sleep as a strategy. Sleep is important. Sleep benefits include growth and repair of damaged tissues such as muscle. They help the immune system and function at a high level, and mental recovery. So psychological recovery is so important. And when we look at our skill learning and our psychological strategies, psychological recovery is so important because what it means is we can have that motivation and drive to continue to train. So the optimum level, sort of 7 to 9 hours a night, is common with our sleep. So also stretching. So stretching converted to a degree as training method in the last key concept. So it's also a good method of recovery. Helps to reduce onset muscle soreness. And the type used depends on the different athlete or the different activity. So the timing of its application or use, and the type of stretching that is selected. So even including technology, so compression garments as a recovery strategy. Some theories push as a prevention to injury. Can be expensive though, and those are the things that compression garments can aid in. So just as a case study, 2 elite athletes were completing 2 different training sessions. Both athletes are of similar fitness level, but can clearly undertake different programs as indicated. We can see athlete A completes 5 times 400 meter runs in sub 65 seconds. Each run is followed by 140 seconds passive recovery. Athlete B completes 4 times 400 meter runs in the first 2 in sub 65 seconds and the second 2 in sub 75 seconds. Each run is followed by 150 seconds active recovery. So we can see here, just without concept knowledge, athlete B, the second 2 400 meters are going sub 75. So we're looking at the athlete that will fatigue the fastest would be athlete A. Okay, so that's our last concept. Obviously, it's a shorter one, and the questions account for that. So pages 165 to 168. So let's make sure they're done before we actually go and look at the test.